But yeah, this next bit, it's an opinion piece that was written not by one of our, I guess you'd say, staff. We don't actually pay anyone. But it's a reader named DCGX, and he's big in, on the Dreamcast Talk message boards. He's also, I think he's on our forums, but doesn't post much. But he is a commenter on a lot of our stuff. He's a nice guy, and I noticed that whenever we would talk about WhoCast in news articles, he'd have an opinion. And his opinion seemed to be that he was not happy with the company. So I was talking to him offline, and I suggested that he write a piece for us. And so he went ahead and did that. This is all his opinion, not the opinion of you or I, though, I mean, let's be honest, we're not a business, so it's not, I don't know. It's not like I'm putting a legal disclaimer out there, but these are his opinions. I have my own opinions, which I will get into. But pretty much what he talked about was how WhoCast, the company that made the Ghost Blade and also made Dux and Redux, they have a history of making mistakes. And he laid out some of these mistakes. For example, they would, for a Kickstarter, promise that there would be exclusive items, that you can only get with this Kickstarter, and then months later they'd put them up for sale on their site. Other times they would, I believe in the case of Ghostblade, there was this super collector's edition that the first people who pre-ordered the game, the early supporters, they, these are the hardcore people who are dropping like $100 on a game with all these collector's goodies. Well, it turns out that these people are now still waiting for their edition because things that were promised for it are still being worked on, while other things promised for the box set are being cut. So it's like, imagine you're the first person to back this thing, and now you're going to have to wait like 2 extra months, and you're not even getting what you paid for. So that's not good. WhoCast is also notorious for multiple versions. Now I know, in today's day, people are like, oh yeah, hey, there's a new update, download it and it'll update your game, but obviously the Dreamcast can't do that. So if there's a mistake with the game, a new disc will be released. However, these discs are not free to customers who already bought the game. They are being sold as, like revision discs. So in the case of Dux, there were a few bugs in it. They weren't game breaking unless they were game breaking if you did certain things with the ship, if you went certain places, I believe, which is, weird. They should have caught that in testing it. So they released Dux 1.5, and Dux 1.5 had its own situation where I think I dealt with this. I wanted a replacement disc, and he was going to charge me for it. He was going to have me pay shipping. And I later read that he was saying, well, if I charge shipping for everyone, it would cost, this exorbitant amount of money. But it's like, that's what you get yourself in. Imagine if you're a car company, you release a bunch of cars and then they have, something wrong with them. You don't say to the people, well, guys, we can't really afford, returning your parts, so you're gonna have to pay for it. Like, that's not cool.
That's not how it works.
No, and then the weirdest thing was he actually went back, and I keep saying he because to my knowledge, Renee Helwig is the only employee, or one of the few employees. He seems to handle just about everything outside of maybe a small team who worked on the game. But after 1.5 came out, they released a 1.1, and it's like, why the hell are you releasing another version of the game that's like an earlier version? And so he was like, oh, I'll buy the 1.1 box set. And so there was that. So it's like, this game, Dux, and then Redux turned out to be not a sequel, but like a remix. And people didn't really figure that out until after they had backed the game and it was coming to them. So
didn't he pitch the game Redux Dark Matters as a new game?
Mm-hmm. And then, as it turned out, it was a remake. So this game, Dux, has had so many revisions, so many remakes, and I'll be honest, it's not that great a game. I mean, it's competent, it's fun, it's, I'd say I like how it's a little more simplistic looking than a lot of shoot 'em ups, but it's like, it's not that great. It's not worthy of 1.0, 1.5, 1.1, Redux Dark Matters. I believe there was even a Redux 1.5 disc, but don't hold me to that. I'd have to look it up. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's more revisions.
That we're not talking about? Most likely. I mean, okay, so what's your opinion on this guy re-releasing this game? I mean, it's obviously going to have to be negative. And how much was he charging for shipping?
Well,
on these revision discs?
That's an interesting thing. I checked that, but he took the site offline. And his site was taken offline in the midst of shipping his latest game, as well as in the midst of publishing games for 2 other developers. And I know some people, or one specific person has told me that those games were released ahead of schedule. Those games were finished. They were completed games that were ported to the Dreamcast. The only thing WhoCast had to do was handle the publishing, which means, putting them on a disc and releasing them. And as evidenced, WhoCast is very good at putting things on discs and releasing them, because we've seen so many revisions of the same game again and again and again. So I'm not calling into question his ability to burn discs and put them in CD cases and print out pretty artwork. He's great at that. And in fact, I think WhoCast should stick to being a publisher. I think they're very good at that outside of the shipping. I think they need to sort that out. But when it comes to just making the same damn game again and again and again, and dealing with Kickstarter customers, promising them exclusives or promising them content. In the case of Ghostblade, there was a caravan mode that we even reported on when the game released, because it was still being promoted as being in the game. It was cut, but it wasn't known to be cut until someone asked him on Facebook, "Hey, I just got the game, where's the caravan mode?" Come on, make a news story on your website. You know what I mean?
You're being sleazy. Let's be honest. There's no other way to really cut this. If you're saying, it's like me buying Virtual Fighter. It's it's online play, and then all of a sudden I buy the game and I'm like, "Hey Sega, where's the online play?" And they're like, "We had to cut it, dude. Sorry."
Yeah,
that's not how business works.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest with the people listening to this. I came on this and I didn't want to get it as negative as I'm getting, but as I talk about it, it just kind of riles me up. And I haven't even seen the worst of it, and that's why I reached out to DCGX, and he's not the only one. There are people in the comments who have also felt that. People on the Kickstarter comments for his games, and I'm not trying to tear the guy down or tell people to, I don't know, take him out in the street or anything. I want him to hear these words and improve. I want there to be indie Dreamcast games, and to be honest, he's one of the last people out there really doing it outside of Watermelon, I guess, though they've been going through some issues with delays. Goat Store has been doing publishing, but they've not done it for a long time, and their latest game is again seeing delays. NG Dev Team, I believe, has dropped Dreamcast support because of sales for their latest game, Neo XYX. So it's a difficult business to be in. Red Spot Games, they are, I believe their site is there, but they're not selling anything, and there are people who have ordered and haven't received their stuff now. So it's almost like they packed up shop and ran away. I don't know what's going on with them. And they were the best one, in my opinion, in terms of publishing. Stormwind was their last title.
And I mean, I don't want to think that these delays are happening. I mean, these problems with publishing are happening because of the large amount of volume. I mean, how many copies do you think they sell of a game?
That's a good question.
So it's, yeah. I mean, it's hard to figure out. I'm assuming they've done at least 10,000 of Ducks and all these remakes and are all said and. But
yeah,
once you're an indie developer and you just screw up, it kind of makes the whole scene look bad, especially when everybody in the scene seems to be doing this whole delay thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of Redux Dark Matters, just looking on their site, they only had 650 backers.
That's not that much.
That's not that much at all. And this was a game that I believe, I'm sure some of the backers too didn't even receive a copy. I'm sure it was, Yeah, they had, 18 people who pledged for pledging, $5. They had 6 people pledging just to help out, 25 people pledging just to help out. So, or 8 people, I'm sorry. So that 650 number isn't even, 650. But it has been said that, these people are small teams, that they're trying their hardest, and that, they put a lot of passion into this. But end of the day, you're opening up your wallet or you're opening up your PayPal account or whatever, and you're putting down money for products that are being promised to you with a list of, this is going to be exclusive, this caravan mode is going to be in it, those sorts of things. And you'd at least also expect a game to work. And so when you pay for these things and then it turns out either the game you bought is not exclusive to the point where, you thought it was, or the game has issues and it's being re-released and you have to pay for shipping of the re-release disc, or any number of things, or even just not answering emails. You can't say, oh, he screwed me over, but God, his heart's in it. His heart's really in. You can't. No, it's not a free pass. And I think we're reaching that point. And DCGX, my favorite thing about his article is that he says that it is no longer a nostalgia business, it's a business. I've stopped writing, hey guys, wow, golly gee, there's a new Dreamcast game coming out, because I've come to expect it to happen so many times that wow factor is gone. Just like saying, oh geez, I never thought I'd see Mario and Sonic in the same game. Like, get over it. It's not a novelty anymore.
Some of these things are going to be like so easy to solve. Okay, there's no caravan mode. When you figure out you can't fucking make this mode, you have to go online and tell your customers, you know what? It's not going to happen to ship this game in time. I'm not going to be able to do it. And you know what? Most people would probably be okay with it. It was just shady that you waited for somebody to tell you on Facebook that they got the game and it's not in there. And then also, okay, they have this game coming out, and then they have a couple other games coming out, right? And then they don't even have a website.
Oh man, well, I don't want to run long, but too late. Redux 2 has already been announced.
Oh, that's great.
And that was announced, I think, before or during the Ghostblade shipping, which already had its own issues. So can you imagine? It's like Ghostblade is not having the best release, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and by the way, that Redux game's getting a sequel to a remake. Like, what is this? Evil Dead?
And and in the end of the day, it might not even be a new game. It might be a fix. Knowing this team.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I don't 100% trust him to make. I guess he ran out of things to remake, so that's a good thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Redux 2 becomes Ghostblade with. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
So but I did buy the game. I supported him, so I'm not a complete asshole here. I'm just voicing my opinion as a customer, as have others. We spoke with our wallet, and now we're saying we might not speak with our wallet the next time.
Let's close it up. If you guys have any, if you guys want to tell us about your experience with the developer, or if you guys played Ghostblade, let us know in the comments below.
If you'd like more Sega news, check us out at segabits.com. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our social networks.